Hello TCS viewers, it's Chris Niccolls here from the camera store with Jordan Drake, of course, behind the camera. And we are coming to you today from a very unique position in the middle of the Bow River. And we're doing this for a good reason, because we're looking at the Pentax K-30 today. Now the Pentax K-30 is Pentax's latest in its line of rugged SLRs. And like most Pentax SLRs, it is famous for being very strong and very weather resistant. And well, we're surrounded by nothing but water today. So we're gonna put that to the test, bring you guys a review on how the camera behaves, and hopefully have some fun in these extremely dangerous high water levels today. Yeah, it feels, it's got that same weight that okay, crap. We're gonna try not to go in the trees here. There we go. Okay, well, the good thing about the K-30 is if you're about to hit something and you need to get on the oars, we don't have to worry about it. I mean, it's so rugged, you can chuck it in there. We got water on there already, and you just don't worry about it. As long as it doesn't get fully immersed, maybe if it gets a little immersed, we'll see. The camera can take it. I've never worried about Pentax SLRs before, and I don't think I need to worry about this one. Now, one thing I'm not a big fan of on Pentax nowadays is their design. I mean, the Pentax Design Bureau, I don't know what they're doing. I guess it's just not my taste. I mean, the Pentax WG2 looks like the bottom of a running shoe. The K01, we're not even gonna go there again, okay? You already know my opinion on that. And the K30, I mean, I'll give it this. The grip feels good. It's very secure in the hand. You got that great weight that Pentax is known for. But I think they picked every single kind of rubber texture that you could possibly find. We've got these fins that look like a Lamborghini side door. We've got little pockmarked plastic all over here, looks like a Band-Aid. I mean, literally the thing looks like the bottom of my sandal here. It's not my taste, you know? I mean, it's functional, great, but it's futuristic looking, not very classic. I think it's gonna turn off a lot of people. Hopefully, it'll turn on more than it turns off. All right, let's go take a look over here. We've got some shadows, so we're gonna see how the low light performs on this camera. Now the Pentax, with an expanded sensitivity, can go from 100 to 25,600. Let's take a look and see what results we get. All right, so the mosquitoes are trying to eat us alive here. We're gonna shoot the K-30 in this sort of shadow area. We're gonna shoot it in DNG mode. Now, one of the cool things about the Pentax is it's RAW mode. They've done away with PEF. It's just DNG now, and that makes sense. I mean, it's universal, it works great. Pentax isn't known for having great JPEG quality, so we're going to shoot in DNG, and then we can convert it to JPEG, and we'll get a good idea of how this camera can really handle high ISO. Now, the K-30 expanded can do 100 to 25,600. We're going to shoot from 400 up, 1600, 3200, and I will give you a shot of that 25.6 just so we can see how terrible it is. Okay, now looking at the Pentax K-30 files at high ISO, this is what I seem to have found. I mean, the 16 megapixel sensor on this camera, I would say very similar to, say, a Nikon D7000, and the high ISO performance is pretty close too. I still do think that Nikon files are a little bit sharper at high ISO. The Pentaxes aren't smoothing out as bad as Canon, but there's still a little bit of softness. The noise, I don't know, it's not bad at high ISO, but the pattern does look artificial and mushy. It doesn't look organic. I personally still prefer D7000 in this class, but certainly this camera is no slouch. It can compete easily with its peers. And keep in mind that this camera is under $1,000. This is garbage. Not the Pentax, but this, hey? This is just terrible. The sons of... When it comes to the Pentax K-30, video is pretty standard fare now. It's 1080p. 30 frames per second, 24 frames per second, and of course 60 frames at 720. So pretty typical of other cameras in its class. And Jordan's been commenting that he likes the peaking, it's on there. The magnify feature is actually in a very clever position too, so looks like Pentax has put some thought into making the camera functional as a video camera. Now, Pentax don't advertise this feature very much, but honestly, this is probably the fastest live view autofocusing I've ever used. I mean, the camera just goes here. I push the button. Look at that. Quick. It's almost as fast as some entry-level SLRs autofocus through the viewfinder. This is the fastest traditional SLR, calm down Sony fans, fastest traditional SLR for live view that I've seen for focusing. And it doesn't seem to hunt either. It just goes forward, back, and then beep right on target. So very impressive. I mean, the Rebel T4i is going on and on about how great their live view focusing is. This is quicker, this is better, and they're the same price, and the camera does more, so that's a big plus for the Pentax. Now, when it comes to doing movies, of course, with live view, well, I mean, it's fast enough to do the video. It's quicker than anything else I've used, but again, it is going to go out and then in, so it's not going to track something super nice. But still, I would manual focus for most cinematic endeavors, but live view is actually an option here this time. It's the first camera I can really say that about. Calm down, Sony fans. I didn't mean you.
So we're talking about the camera?
What? Sorry?
Camera.
Camera? What camera?
Pentax.
Pentax.
K-30.
Fishing? All right, folks, time for a very scientific test on how rugged this camera is. In this river, it is famous for huge trout and also camera-eating sharks and frogs. Oh no! They're doing terrible things to this camera. Precariously positioned on the side of a boat, ready to go in the water. Oh, look at that. No strap, of course. You know I don't use straps. But camera turns on as expected. I mean, these Pentax cameras with this 18-135 WR, or even very, very nice 18-55 WR, which is super affordable with this camera, gives you a solid, rugged package. We've been stepping on this thing. It's covered in muddy water. We've done terrible, terrible things because it's not our camera, and it's still working great. The Pentax K-30 is certainly a nice focusing camera. Very responsive. Locks on nice and quick. Very comparable to something like a D7000. So I like that. It's excellent. It's what you want in a camera this price range. The autofocusing mode is a little bit of a pain. You have to go into the menu to change the camera between auto areas or single point areas. It does have a fixed center point, but I think definitely I would use the one where you have all the points available. You hold down the OK button for a few seconds and it lets you move your point around. You know, it's not bad. It takes a little bit of a delay, so it might not be the quickest in a sports situation, not like a Nikon where you can just hit the control panel and move it right away, but it's okay. It works graphically. It's clear. Now, one of the other cool things about this camera is you've got really nice levels. If I go into live view here, I've got this great level for both rotation sideways and forward backwards. So really, really nice. I mean, especially hard to use on a boat where it's constantly moving, but great for landscape. But of course, one of the great things that we do have for shooting on an unstable boat like this is we've got sensor-based anti-shake, which is great. Of course, we get image stabilization with any lens that we put on here. So very, very handy, especially when we're shooting here one-handed. One on the oar, there we go, one on the camera. It's interesting sound. It sounds like we're cooking something underneath the boat. Getting hissing, air bubbles. I'm sure we'll be just fine. Silly me. Shooting into a backlit situation, not overexposing my exposure compensation. My photos can be terribly dark, but one of the cool things about the K-30, we're going to try this out, it is getting a great reputation on the internet for having excellent dynamic range, especially in the shadows. We're going to boost these up. Those are shot at 400. We're going to zip them to the computer and see what we can do with them. See if we can get that detail back and see how bad the noise gets. There's great examples on the net of the shadow detail you can get, but we want to see what it could do in camera. So these are DNG converted to JPEG with maximum exposure increased. Nice results, very minimal noise still increased. It's a winner. You know what, that would be a bad place to take out right here.
Okay, let's do it. And by let's, I mean you.
Yeah. Okay, folks, so I'm just going to walk through this field of flowers, just around it, using the continuous autofocus and just see how it can track these moving subjects here as I walk through. Now, one of the other great things I like about it, and hopefully you can see here, is we've got dynamic zone focusing. So I can set where the camera focuses, you know, in general amongst the points. It's a great way for when you're shooting sports in action to limit the autofocusing points to an area, but still give you a bit of freedom so you don't have to keep that single point on there. So let's give it a try and see how the camera handles it. I'm just going to burst off a few shots as I move. Overall, autofocusing is nice and quick. Right to that flower there. I mean, very responsive, handles it nice. You know, not a Nikon D4, not a 5D Mark III, but in its price point, that's incredible. All right, now the Pentax K-30 is pushing almost 6 frames per second here, so I'm going to get in here with a lot of bees, they're on the flowers, and just see what this camera can do. And hopefully not get stung. Nice and quick buffer there. I mean, it gave us a nice quick burst. Let's just see how long it can shoot. Now, we got a UHS 1 card in here, one of the new Hoodman RAWs, so it's a fast card. Now we're getting about 6 shots in a row, and then it has to stop. Not bad. I mean, again, not sports camera capable, but pretty good for a camera in this price range. Well, we finished our float. We had a lot of time to play with the Pentax K-30 today. And overall, we really, really like this camera. I mean, I'm not big on the look, okay? That's just me, but it handles well. We beat the crap out of it. Takes that no problem, which is great. Classic Pentax SLR. We were very happy with the image quality overall. The autofocusing is vastly improved. That live view is a big surprise too, but the camera continuously focuses nice. You get the dynamic autofocus, which is a nice feature, again, in this price range. Battery life is great. AA option is a cool feature. I mean, Pentax is really giving you a lot for your money. And it's great to see Pentax returning to their classic, good value for the money, big bang for the buck. So I do like that. It handles like a classic camera, easy to use. Overall, I mean, when you look at this price point with the lens under $1,000, I think this we played with the T4i a little while ago. This thing dominates a camera like that. I mean, much better SLR, much nicer features, and basically the same price point. Overall, folks, we recommend this highly. As long as you get past that running shoe look, this is a great one to have.